HDII, anggota 128 DKI. Profesi interior designer saat ini sangat penting di dalam pembangunan Indonesia yang lebih maju. Karena itu saya berharap generasi muda bersiap-siap kita maju bersama menjalankan profesi interior designer agar profesi kita ini semakin diakui dengan pemerintah dan juga perusahaan-perusahaan yang ada di Indonesia. Profesi interior designer seharusnya menjadi tuan rumah di negara Indonesia sendiri. Saya ucapkan selamat buat HDII DKI yang diketuai Ibu Rina atas pencapaiannya selama ini dan merangkul generasi muda. Semangat untuk generasi muda HDII. Terima kasih.
Hai, nama saya Farah. Saya anggota HDII 751 DKI AB. Saya bekerja di Design Partners Indonesia. Semoga profesi desain interior semakin dihargai dan tetap semangat HDII, semakin maju ke depannya. HDII mantap!
Halo, saya Makmur, anggota HDII dengan nomor anggota 63. Tergabung juga di kepengurusan HDII DKI Jakarta bagian sertifikasi. Sukses buat JKID 2021-nya yang bekerjasama dengan MAYANTARA. Sukses juga untuk HDII sebagai wadah desainer-desainer interior se-Indonesia. Sukses.
Hello everyone, welcome to the session 3, day 2 of MAYANTARA JAK ID. Nice to have you here and thank you for the audience for joining. So MAYANTARA is a live virtual event related to the creative industry, especially in design. And MAYANTARA JAK ID is actually a special collaboration host of MAYANTARA and HDII Jakarta to reach public experience, and we also celebrate Jakarta anniversary. Virtual event will be held at 16 to 18 June of 2020 and also will be held in August 2020. So today's session will be broadcasted also in YouTube live and MAYANTARA ID. You can check on MAYANTARA ID YouTube channel. And the session topic today is Built to Last, presented by AHEC. So I'm Rina Renville here as the MC. I started to introduce HDII. So HDII, Himpunan Desainer Interior Indonesia, is a registered professional organization representing all interior designers in Indonesia. And I'm a chairperson of HDII DKI Jakarta for the 2019 to 2020 period. So I would like to say thank you to all special session today, actually very special. last but not least, yeah, since this morning we have 3 sessions presented by AHEC. So allow me to say thank you to AHEC that finally we can do this session together, AHEC with HDII. So I would like to also introduce a very special guest today, John Chan. He is the Regional Director of AHEC, Southeast Asia and Greater China. Hi, John. Please wave at the camera. Very nice to see you, yeah? Okay, thank you, John. So, American Hardwood, AHEC, American Hardwood Export Council, is the leading international trade association for the American hardwood industry. For more than 30 years, AHEC has been the forefront of international wood promotion. Around the world, AHEC works to inspire, support, and provide technical advice to architect, designer, specifier, and manufacturers. So you can follow them at AHEC_C on Instagram to see the exciting design and get the latest updates for our region. Now, introducing Nathan. We have Nathan here also for the speaker. He is the founder and the director of Nathan Young Design. Hi, Nathan. Please wave at the camera. Hello. Also very nice to have you here, yeah, Nathan. And then I would like to introduce Francis. He will be our moderator today, yeah. Francis is also a chairman of HDII 2013 to 2015 period. Thank you, Francis. Halo, apa kabar? Yeah, thank you, Francis. Okay, before we start, I would like to mention to all of you, we have a hack survey. You can find the survey from the webinar chat box. Your response will help AHEC to plan the future event, yeah, aimed at the design community. So both English and Bahasa Indonesia are available. Please fill in the chat box and submit the survey before at the end of the session. So audience can ask the question also in the Zoom chat box. We'll be addressing during Q&A session. Now, we're going to play the Regional Director message by John Chen, the Regional Director of AHEC, Southeast Asia and the Greater China. So here the video. Please enjoy the video.
Dear guests, organizer, friends of HDII and AHEC, and speakers of these sessions, welcome to join our webinar sessions today. You may have frequently heard of the notions carbon neutrality, climate change, and sustainability. How can we actually be part of it to contribute and help the environment? The choice of wood material is for sure one of the most important factors that can speed up carbon neutrality. The seminar topics to be presented today have addressed the choice of timber, design, production, and sustainability. Happen to be AHEC's program and message promoting U.S. hardwoods. U.S. hardwood can offer you more choices and selections for furniture design, architectural, and interior design projects. You are going to discover the examples of U.S. hardwood's workability and natural beauty in the woodcraft furniture from the presentations today. It is more important than ever that we protect our natural environment and turn our intentions to preserve it into actions. Using wood from well-managed resources, such as the American forests, is one of the most environmentally sound choices that we can make as consumer and specifiers. Our role in the Southeast Asia and Greater China region is to support architects and designers like you in considering the environmental impact of your material choice and giving you evidence to substantiate that your choice is a responsible one. We are also encouraging you as specifier to explore species that you may not have used before. The forest is a natural resource, and it is important not just to use the one or two species that are in fashion, but to use the species that the forest provides. For this reason, we are delighted to seed species such American cherry, hard and soft maple, walnut, white oak, ash, and red oak, etc., being embraced by designers around the world. It is also heartening that there is a growing willingness to incorporate the natural character of the timber in design. I hope you enjoy the seminar today. Stay safe, happy, and healthy.
Okay, thank you very much, John. I think that's all for me. I will pass to Francis as our moderator today. Please, Francis, enjoy the webinar. You may start. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rina. How's everyone? I hope everyone's okay and healthy. Let me introduce our speaker today in this session. His name is Nathan Young, founder and director of Nathan Young Design Office. And about the speaker, Nathan Young graduated from Singapore's Temasek Polytechnic in 1991. So that's exactly 30 years ago, with a diploma in industrial design. He began his career working as a buyer, as well as engaging in product development for various companies in Singapore. Now running his industrial design consultancy practice, he has collaborated with international furniture companies such as Gebruder Cornet Vienna, Living Divani, and Linear Rose, among others. He has twice won the Red Dot Concept Award and was also nominated Designer of the Year at the prestigious Singapore President's Design Award in 2008. So without further ado, Nathan, I'll give the screen to you.
Thank you, Francis. Hi, everyone. This is like, thanks for JAK ID and AHEC for having me. I'm going to go through the content page just to let you guys know what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with a background history of how I started, and then I'll try to talk about what makes my design desirable, followed by the hard and soft skills of how a designer should have, and then later how to build to last, and then end with how to plan early. So the next page shows what I'm doing right now. Actually, I'm running a retail shop in Singapore, and I also have a design studios. And it all started in 1999 with this shop called Air. It was a very simple wish to just, like every designers here, I suppose, like you just want your design to be produced. So period. The easiest thing is to start retailing your own furniture. So that's how it started. So the strategy was to design something that the market really sees a lack of, and also start winning awards, just to get more marketing, mileage of, really good work being judged by the fellow peers designers about good work. So I've actually won 2 Red Dot Award and some other design. And that kind of like, as a young designer, put you up in a better position when you start talking about your design. So actually, in fact, with that, I was being spotted by a magazine in Italy called Casa di Abitare. So they did a kind of a 4-spread write-up about my studio in Singapore. And I think that's where the magazine is distributed worldwide, and a lot of people read the magazines. And it's actually created by the wallpaper founder, Tyler Brule. So he actually is a creative director for Casa di Abitare. And this magazine was well read, and that's where I start to meet more customers from then on. Next. So during 2011, I'm also being selected as 40 designers under 40-year-old as up and coming designers. So with that, it was being distributed in Milan Furniture Show, where most of the buyers, when they talk about designer furniture, they'll visit the Milan show. So it was very important for me to kind of being spotted to be the top 40 designers during 2011 to look out for. And the exposure was really huge, with many brands knowing about my work in a tiny island in Singapore, you know what I mean? Very far from Europe. And from then on, you have like, these are the companies that I worked with in the past and also currently. It is very important to work with stronger brands because you get the mileage of a wider audience. And I actually started out with Liné Rosé, which I'll show you later. And then it started to snowball with more customers coming in. The next one. So for example, these are the few pieces that I did for Liné Rosé. And I'll always use, like, when I use wood, it's always American hardwood, American walnut, American oak, American beechwood. So my first design was spotted by Liné Rosé, is the middle one, which is this coffee table. This was the first piece that's being spotted by Liné Rosé. I believe it's 2006 in Singapore Furniture Show. So the buyers do travel around the world, including Asia, to spots for talent. And I was spotted for this design by the French Liné Rosé, which is 120 over years old. And I think what stands out is the technology that I engaged on, because I use CNC to router a concave and a convex sculptural shape as a coffee table. And then they got interested. And I also specify using American walnut at that time because it has very rich color. And it was spotted by Liné Rosé. And that's the start of relationship until today. I'm still designing for them. If you look at some of the lightings that I designed over here. So a lot of these things are quite good selling, and they're still been selling for the last, let me just what right now, 2006. Wow, it's about 10 over years that they're selling. So yeah. So Liné Rosé is one of the early clients I work with internationally. And then the next one is the American market, Design Within Reach. So Design Within Reach, it started with a TV console where it has this aesthetic of all this louver line, which is very much informed by the tropical housing, where we see, air and breeze coming in and out of a house. And that inspired me to come a TV console where you can have remote control and control your appliances or your digital Wi-Fi using your infrared without opening up the doors, yet keeping all the messes underneath the cabinet. And so then it keeps, evolve until a writing table, a wine cabinet, and chest of drawers. And that's a start where I work with Design Within Reach, one of the biggest US company in one of the biggest company in USA, and also owned by Herman Miller. And then the other one is like from Italy, Living Divani. So for example, like this design is using off-cut American walnut and American white oak. Because during visit to factories, I always see a lot of off-cut from leftover, when people produce dining table or whatever, they always have all this leftover. So this shelf was using all these small pieces and constructed as a shelf with this very chaotic randomness to create interest in the design. So this was spotted by Living Tivani, and then till now we are developing products for them. So I just cut it short because there are still a lot of customer work that I would love to show. But I would just want to explain that what makes a design desirable, like what makes a company or someone like about the design. I think first of all is form, a form that's interesting and engaging, that makes one want to go near and try to understand what's so interesting about it. So for example, I got a few designs here has very interesting form, from onyx marble to mild steel and to just plywood. And all these materials, all these materials can create interesting form if you know how to manipulate them. So I think the design is always kind of very interesting, very sculptural to attract people to look at them first. So that's very important. I think the second thing is function, because when people start looking at something beautiful, they want to know, okay, so what does it do other than looking beautiful? So I always have very interesting function based on understanding how people behave. Like for example, the middle one, it's actually a coffee table where you see books being placed on different shelves, and you can actually turn the shelf. Basically, I observe like when you go to the clinic, everybody throw the books and magazine anyway, and it's always messy. It's no point having a table that's neat and tidy because people don't arrange that way. It's just human to be a bit random. So this table was designed to hold different books, and it's turnable, so you can just find the books that you want. So that's based on function. And then this one is a set of coffee tables that you can stack together. Actually, this idea was based on looking at the rubbish dump. We throw rubbish, and then you look at kids throwing their toys and how you're going to stack them all together. So from observing the environment around us. So the next slide. The third thing is meaning, which is quite rare right now nowadays. I mean, what does it mean to have something beautiful and also functional? So the third thing I always think about is meaning. So for example, like other than being functional to you and beautiful to you, doesn't mean anything. So so for this bed that I designed, it actually looks like a very flat bed, and people will ask, so why do I have to step up? But my question is also like, actually, why do we need a bed for? Because we need mattresses, but why do we need a bed? So other being decorative, what other thing? So the meaning of this is like you take 2 steps up to somewhere higher to take a rest. So it's very meaningful because that ritual kind of prompts you to understand that, okay, it's time to rest. I take these 2 steps. So it's very meaningful in how we use the object and look at it not just like a utilitarian bed just to sleep, but something more meaningful. And this is even more interesting. This was actually car parts that I scavenged out from a garage. And I find that it's very meaningful because people throw away things after using them, but I find them beautiful because it was very meaningful initially as part of a machine. And those language kind of convey how important they are. I actually clean them up, spray them in white, and I sell it as art pieces, from $500 to $1,500, and I sold one of them. I think people do appreciate a good form or good sculpture based on the meaning that it provides when it existed. So for this machine, it's meaningful because it drives someone before it was a moving parts of a car. So in that sense, it's quite meaningful. So the fourth thing is value. It's how value you value an object, whether is it valuable to you or valuable to your loved ones, and how much value you put into an object. So this was done for Disney Star Wars. And look at Disney Star Wars franchise, it's always like cheap plastic toys. You buy, you play, you throw away, or even chocolate that come with Darth Vader head. You consume it and you throw away. And I find that it's really kind of doesn't value what are the pop cultural reference that Star Wars is giving for the last 30, 40 years, since 1967 or 69 that it came out. Now, Star Wars has been so important for the pop culture, you know, with its references and all that. And I think if you franchise it as a product, as a chocolate wrapper, or as another piece of plastic, it's really kind of non-valuable. So I was approached by Disney to collaborate with this Star Wars project. In the end, I created 4 sets of coffee tables using solid marble. And if you look at it, there's a silhouette of, you know, Millennium Falcon and that vehicle that transport the, I can't remember the characters. So it's very sculptural, yet it's very important. It's of solid marble. And every piece is limited edition. We only make 3 pieces out of each design, and each is selling about 10,000, I believe. So it becomes something that people buy as a piece of art rather than consume and throw it away. And hence we make it more valuable in terms of perceiving Star Wars as a cultural product. So that's what I mean by value. The things need to be more valuable, so that's more meaningful also. So with that, we're like, so how do you establish a good design practices that understand all these issues, you know, understand about the values and the meaning of things and the function and form. So I think a designer should always have a hard skill and soft skill. So hard skill is quite easy to understand. Every product designer would know what's hard skill. So hard skills, you need to know about material, you need to know how the user is using it, you need to know about the production, the CMF. So these are very basic product design knowledge. So the hard skill, you need to know wood, you know, you need to know the upholstery, leather, plastic, metal, and all that. And then you need to know the CMF, which is like the color, the surface, the smoothness, the roughness. Even for wood, there's smooth, there's rough. You can burn the wood, you can grind it, scratch it, you can carve it to create different kinds of texture, even for wood. It's not just between shiny or matte. There's a lot of surface treatment, and that is a CMF. You need to understand production. So when, like the first table that you saw, Linear Rose, it's CNC cut into a concave, right? So I engaging a kind of a machine to help in terms of achieving the form. So by understanding I can use CNC machine, it created something that the buyer really likes, because most of the time it's just a flat coffee table and maybe it's the shape of a round shape or organic shape, but it's always flat. And then I created a set of concave and convex, and that's through understanding what other markets are available for the production. So those hard skills are quite easy as any product designers, I think. I think the difficult part is the next one, which is soft skills. So soft skills for me, I mean, so it's very personal to everybody's different. So for me, it's fashion, film, art, music, and architecture. So all these things kind of influence me, even, so I say start with film, right? So when I look at film, like you can see the space or the sea, you can see Clockwork Orange and all Star Wars. All these are pop references that help me understand the current or the past society, you know, and show like Dead Poet Society teaches me not to just study, just follow rules. You need to think out of the box. You need to rebel a bit. You need to change a bit. You need to shake something a bit. So you can choose what kind of film you like, or even what kind of hobby that you like. But I think all of these are very good reference point to how you perceive things and how you look at things. So even in music, you know, I listen to like Björk. She always kind of makes different sound. She makes like classical music. She makes sounds from machines into her music. Then you got Portishead with very soulful voice, and then you got Radiohead that's very angry, and all these things. I don't know. For me, it just kind of, you know, gives you a certain kind of energy or anger, and it translates to more positive results. So again, for me, music actually play a big part in who I am. Fashion actually is just any product design, but the material can be softer fabric or gems and all that. And fashion is a good way to look at a current trend, you know, and it pushes a bit. So all these like, you know, McQueen, Comme des Garçons, Maison Margiela, and all those things. So they are the ones that always pushes a fashion, but fashions are not clothing. Yeah, fashion is they look at what the trend is all about and make some changes, and it can be something that's vocal, a reflection of what the society is about. So it's always good to open up and understand what other creatives are doing. They might not be doing furniture, but they have different kind of thoughts that pushes you to push yourself also. So I think fashion is one of the things that is really interesting. Architecture, which is I think closer to me, because you can see buildings, it's not just sculptural, but it's being able to build with the civil engineering and with the creativity of the architects. There's so much form that can create from architecture, and it can influence the product. So the proportion, the lights, the shadows, all helps in your visual language. And all these things, a lot comes from arts. And for me, arts are very emotive. It kind of like, you can feel it, you can feel the proportion. It gives you a sense of wonder. So when I look at art, especially sculpture, like right now we saw Richard Sierra, we saw Donald Judd. They are very, of course, sculpture, which is close to product. But I think it's the skill of it and the solidarity of it always makes me move just by looking at it. And these are things that you can say are non-functional. But then how does it move someone? And I think that's where arts is very interesting, if you can able to put that into your product design. Because if arts can move someone, and you have arts in your furniture design or product design, it can move someone more than just being able to use. It's something that's meaningful and valuable. So with all that, actually, I've started retailing, I've started designing for other people, and then I created my own brand, and this is what I do. It's called Folks, and I uses American walnut, American white oak, and American ash for all of these solid wood products. So all of this came from my visit to Japara. So these are the pictures I took when I was in Japara. This is the factory that make for Hermes, the French brand. And you can see all these Indonesians, sit together, just sending or laying some parts for the French companies. Want me to, what are the things that we can add values to, the people of Asia, and not just being used as a production company, but something that has better value. So that's where design comes in. So these are the things that not made by the same factory, but it's made by a Malaysia factory. And before that, they just make very, basic wooden furniture. And then with design, you can see that it can be so more current, much more desirable. The form are more, more desirable, and it's more meaningful, and it's more well made. So through design, we can actually change something and make it more valuable, make it more meaningful. And that's what I did. I go to the factory and provide them this design. And so the design of the Folks, a lot are using solid wood because it's built to last. For me, I'm very conscious about sustainability, and I think the world is really need to look at this right now. And for me, since I started when I'm young, actually, I'm very safe on things. I don't waste things, and one of the ways is to make things that last longer. When you make things that last longer, then people will not kind of throw away and buy a new one. Because when you keep having that culture of buying and throwing, the nature of the world, the trees, hasn't have enough time to grow. And then you keep cutting trees. So you need to build your things that it lasts longer, so that it takes time for the earth to regenerate for our material. So I always start with building things that is last longer. So we need to have good values if we want things to last longer. So one of the things is sustainability. We need to source material that is able to sustain. So for Folks, I get my wood from the farmers from American Hardwood Export Council members. And because they are farm trees, they take years to farm, and then they take the right time to harvest them. They allow more trees to grow without depleting the earth in that sense, or the farm. So that is very responsible in how they supply the material. And me as a designer, I think it's my responsibility to make things that has this kind of sustainable value. So it's very important. And with American Hardwood, they are very consistent in their delivery. They're always very fast in their communication, and their consistency in delivering the right quality of wood So you won't receive a wood that has too much rejection or is too young and they cut it off. I used to get my wood from Myanmar, and it wasn't really controlled very well, and it affected my business because the supply chain is just not consistent. They can arrive late, like 3 months later and all that. So I stopped buying wood from Southeast Asia in that aspect because the control, I'm not sure how tight is the control. So American hardwood farmers are able to apply that kind of dynamic to the whole sales of the wood. And from the farmer, you got different kind of wood, from maple to beech to American walnut to oak and American cherry. All this wood has different kind of characters, colors, grain, and that gives you a lot of versatility to create different kind of form, different kind of engineering, because some woods are softer and some wood are harder, and that allows your furniture to have different approach to design it. And I find that it's very interesting if you can able to get it from one source, different kind of wood. So even with very good wood supply and all that, I think every designer needs to have good partnership, because you can't do it alone. You're just a designer. So for me, able to find a very good supply of wood, the next thing is able to find a supplier that's able to produce. So I always have business partner, like on my left, Jeffrey, he's an Indonesian also. He's actually my partner in my retail business. And then the other side is Saurabh. He's my production partner in India, which produce brass items and all that. And I think you need to find a right partner that's able to have the same vision as you, which is to make things without cutting corners. It's good quality and all that, so that you build respect and trust by different brands. And this is where the shops that I'm selling right now in USA to Europe and to England, Design Within Reach, Herman Miller, Hills. These are all big brands of Europe and America. And I think we really, as an Asian, need to make things that is more sustainable, more valuable, that these brands are actually looking for, rather than they keep come to Asia and expect to buy, cheap things. And so I think we should really kind of up our game and produce a much better quality of products and design for companies like that. And we are able to do it, just looking at me, someone from Singapore who have no wood, no production, I just have design. So I think that is possible. So I started all these things at the age of 16, wanted to do furniture design and wanted to be famous, at 16 years old. So if there's any designers out there, I always think that you really need to have a very good vision to plan ahead. You have to think far. And I want to share my webinar with a last thing, which is a video, so that you can learn something from there, hopefully. It's called the butterfly effect. So I'll play for you guys right now. It's about 3 minutes or 2 minutes, yeah. Hi.
Butterfact, a name and concept formulated by American meteorologist and mathematician Edward Norton Lorenz in the 1960s. is the theory that one small change in the starting condition of an event, such as the flutter of an innocent butterfly soaring through the sky, can have a dramatic effect on the outcome of an event, like cause a tornado on the other side of the world, or less drastic, cause a plane to experience turbulence. Take the handful of people who were late for work on the morning of 9/11, or the fact that Seth MacFarlane missed his flight because he was drunk the night before, preventing him being killed that day, which would have been the end of Family Guy, and the millions of hours spent by people watching that show would have been spent doing something else, which would have resulted in a different outcome for those people. Take the fact the US Space Shuttle's two side thruster rockets had to be made a smaller size due to the fact they passed through many tunnels during transport. Tunnels which were made 2,000 years ago and were built at the time to just fit the width of two horses carrying a chariot. As someone put it, one of the most complicated and groundbreaking pieces of machinery in history had to be designed to fit around a decision made 2,000 years ago. Take this and the hundreds of personal scenarios you can think of relating to events that happened in your life, and you wonder how things could have been different, for better or for worse, if one little piece was taken away. And we all seem to shape each other's lives a lot more than we think. The minutes you have spent watching this video has changed the outcome of your life, and in turn the lives of millions of others, because your actions today will be different. Some may be instant tiny things that happen today or this week, but in time what happens today will have a snowball effect on the direction of your life, which in turn can and will have a huge effect on everyone's life around you. So if you ever thought your life doesn't matter, believe me, it really does.
So that concludes my presentation for Built to Last today. Thanks everyone for listening in. Francis. Hi, Francis.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
So, yeah, thank you for your presentation. It's very inspiring, definitely very inspiring. And, you know, there's something I really love what you said is art is not functional, but it moves you.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice statement you made there. I don't think many of us see it that way.
In fact, that's actually one of the functions. When art moves you, it's one of the functions also.
It is, yeah. But but if you design your product with awareness of art, of beauty, or love at first sight, say, that makes you move to the product and have a look at it, it's very an interesting aspect, I think, a way of thinking about it. So let me remind everyone that if you have any questions for Nathan, for the speaker, please do let us know, and I'll read it to Nathan. So now back to the question, back to your presentation. You know, how do you get noticed in the first place? You know, you were young at that time and you were spotted, but can you give the audience any tips as how, you know, how did you start doing this until you're really spotted?
So actually, I do join a lot of trade shows when I was young. I actually participate in those designer area. So that because you can a lot of furniture shows show designers' work. So I think that if you are very out there and keep improving your design and submit your work and keep pushing it, then I think you'll be featured for some reason. As we say, the butterfly effect. You know, we just cannot be negative. We just cannot be lazy and just keep trying. But do not be annoying when you try, because we know designers can be annoying. So I think you need to try, but have good manners, but keep trying. And even if you fail, keep trying, because that's what we do, right? I mean, yeah.
I really agree. Good manners matters.
Yeah. I think that's very important. A lot of things being succeed as a designer, people might think that, you know, your design is very good or whatsoever. But I think all the more important is how you treat people respectfully in many things. Yeah. So I think join trade shows, get your work out. Now, I mean, I started out 20 years ago without internet. You know, we run by modem and all that. And right now with social media, Instagram, you got TikTok, it's so easy to reach out to the right people today compared to the time when I started out. So, and the game right now is really suitable for the young people out there. For me, if I come right now, I'll be losing end because I don't know all this TikTok and all this thing. But I think young people should engage now the social media and technology to get their word out.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, the butterfly effect. It's very meaningful because whatever you do, whatever we do today, will impact your future or the future of mankind in many ways. It may impact.
Yeah.
It can even be destructive, or it can be actually on a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing with people not having the patience to understand that is because they put a timeline. Like if I do this, I want to see the result in 1 year's time. Or when I do this, I want to do it in 10 years' time. But for me, I never have a timeline. I just do it because you are alive until the day you die, right? And you have like, I don't know, a good 80 years old average to see the result. And even if it doesn't happen, it might happen in the next year when you're not around anymore, And I always think you just do your best you can because what are there to do if you don't do your best? I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. No, it's it is like that. It's whatever you do your best, but you have to do something instead of being lazy, like you put it.
Yeah.
That because whatever you do may have a great impact, good impact to the environment, or so you better think before you do, but you better do it. You better start doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, I saw one of your work, at the Jewel at Changi, where you put this timber over the air conditioning there.
Yeah.
And also, like Liné Rose table, the concave and convex, these are all American wood, right? American hardwood. Now, yeah, I noticed that in Singapore, you don't have solid wood. You don't have a forest.
Yeah.
Right. So
we
you
don't
have
have
to
anything.
import. Yeah. So what makes you choose American hardwood in that respect, and not from? You did mention that if you source this from Southeast Asia, it may not be coming from like a good source. It may be illegal logging, or it may be cut, illegally, and not just illegally cut, but it can be taken or something. So what makes you choose those specific woods, and what species what makes you choose all these species?
I think if you're really serious in your game, which is furniture design, then I think the supply chain has to be really, is very important. You can't have wood that comes in today and then doesn't come in 6 months' time. You can't have a wood that come in today in the perfect conditions and then the next batch is really bad condition, because it will affect your business with your clients. Your clients expect consistency in the quality of wood, in the production quality.
Supply
and you really,
consistency, right? Supply consistency.
And with American hardwood, you got consistent wood that's being cut at the right age. The percentage of those that cannot be used is very low, and the delivery is always on time. And that's very important if you want to do a real business where people are waiting for your pieces. At the end of the day, a family is waiting for a TV console or a coffee table at home, if you look at it. And you don't want to give them substandard quality of wood or production. Hence, the partnership with the factory is very important. And second, the supply of the material, so to speak, at this point, the wood is very important, because that kind of built your brand. And again, back to this topic, is built to last, right?
Okay. Well, let me read to you. It's more of a message to you. Nathan truly understands American hardwoods and is able to use many species to its full characteristics. This is from Michael Edmonds. Okay. Here, as a designer myself in Indonesia, maybe it's slightly different, because we do have a forest, we do have wood, but we don't have many choices on the lighter color, like white oak and all that, maple. Here, most of the timber are dark. So is that also the same for your design options?
Actually, it depends on the market is looking for. I mean, for the whole decade, there's always been like the walnut, the darker wood, and the oak, that's lighter wood. And it's back to the trend where light wood is being used because of the trend in Scandinavian. And then dark wood walnut always give you the 60s and the 50s kind of walnut, kind of dark wood vibes. And the trend leads you to what you need to supply, right? And for me, it's easier to find any kind of wood with the American hardwood members. You know, you can have cherry wood that has very good quality, very luscious colors from the American hardwood. You can have a nice beech that's very consistent without much islets. And for me, they have a variety of choice that can provide the versatility of how you want your work to part. Be it your interior designer or your architect, you know, in the end, it's consistency, and we just don't want to find any problems with the supply of wood. Yeah, so it's always a peace of mind.
All right. Well, apparently I haven't been able to see the Q&A, read it to you from the audience. Sorry about this because we are running out short of time. Time flies, just like the butterfly, I guess. So thank you for your great presentation, Nathan. You know, I can maybe next time I visit Singapore, we'll have a coffee or something and talk more about the butterfly effect.
Yes,
okay?
for sure. And me, if I go to Jakarta, I can meet everyone.
Yeah, please do. We are your friends now.
Yeah.
So let me recap.
Thank you, everyone.
Let me recap what Nathan is saying. Presented, to us. There are 4 aspects to build something that lasts. The form, something beautiful to look at. Function is a proper function. Meaning and value. These are the 4 most important aspects to consider during design process. Also, combining this with soft skills, such as keeping the mind and heart open. You know, so you have to keep learning. You have to look at the art, you know, because art makes you moves you. So it's music, like Nathan said. Fashion also, you know, that can also be inspired from tradition, but it must be created by, you know, your product must be created by skillful masters, master crafters or makers. But last but not least, a good partner is always good, a good partner or 2 or more. And sustainability are also very important to support your business success. And also you need the world to see your design. That's promotion, you know, promoting your design through magazine articles and exhibition can really help start future projects. So, you know, building something that lasts is part of environmental awareness. So thank you, Nathan, for your presentation, and thank you for AHAG, for John. I give the screen back to Rina.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, both of you. Nathan, I think you're off the camera. Anyway, once again, thank you, Nathan. We are waiting for you to come to Jakarta, Francis. Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. Very insightful. Yeah, very great presentation. And we have reached at the end of the session. I have 4 or 5 minutes to go. Thank you for everybody who have been joining until the end of the session. Don't forget to submit the AHAG survey at the comment box, and make sure to stay tuned and subscribe Mayantara YouTube channel, because today's session is live on YouTube, so you can watch again in Mayantara ID. And we still have more session anyway. We have half through another 7 session until tomorrow. So please visit our program until tomorrow at Mayantara ID Instagram, at HDII Jakarta. And thank you for AHAG. Thank you for John. We can as well visit Instagram AHAG at AHAG_C. Yes, John. And once again, thank you for all the panelists. Thank you, John, as a sponsor. And upcoming next session will be at 4:30 until 16. It's called Local Product, Rakan Design and Trends, presented by Vivere. There was Ayu, Joni, and Alvin, Citrawiryo, Bariantio as a speaker, and Erina Wiono from HDII as the moderator. So once again, John, very great today to everybody, and you all. Maybe we can have a collaborative. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.